Hey, look, we're on time. Well, I'm on time. Welcome to UFC Orlando pre-fight show presented to you by CrossBonesMMA.com. My name is Eddie Law, and I am running the ship solo today. All good. Last UFC card of the year. It's a good one. It's a sneaky good one, and I say sneaky because a lot of people don't. Well, look, everyone talks shit about fight cards all the time because they don't have they don't have Conor on it, or they don't have whoever big superstar you want to throw on there. But no, this card is, the prelims are even low-key good. The main card is good, and you know it. So you should definitely tune into this one. Plus, it's free, man. Chill. So let's get started here with the UFC Fight Pass prelims. Starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. So in about half an hour, they kick off. So I'm going to try and get this done in about half an hour. And actually, I have the Fight Pass I already kicked up on my other computer just in case we go a little over half an hour, but I highly doubt it. So first fight of the night. Francis, I don't even know how to say the last name. Francis Ngannou, there we go. Francis Ngannou against Luis Enrique. We got from Cameroon, Francis from Cameroon, and Luis Enrique from Brazil. From what I could tell from Mr. Ngannou is that he's a wild guy. He'll gladly eat a shot to give you one, which is dangerous in the heavyweight division because anyone can hit you in the chin. It's over. That's game time for them. In the clinch, he has solid knees, right? He will land them. He's a tall guy, 6'4". He's got the core strength to be able to throw those knees hard. So you do not want to get kneed in the stomach by that guy. Takedowns are something. He has tripped takedowns. He has decent takedowns and all that. But to me, it's just not UFC level wrestling. But obviously, it's his debut, so we would expect. Against a novice grappler, a grappler is not going to, that's not good at staying on top of you. He can get back on his feet. He's not bad at getting back on his feet from what I've seen in his fights on YouTube, which is basically all we got of this guy. And then if he gets in the mount, and starts dropping bombs, that fight's over. This guy hits hard. He hits very, very hard. His opponent, meanwhile, Luis Enrique. I don't know what KLB. It's his nickname. I don't know what that means. Dude is straight out of Brazil. He's from every single fight team you could think of, basically. But also American Top Team. So he's got some wrestling and some work over there in Florida. I believe it's Florida. No Nova Ina, even though he's in Rio. But anyway, UFC debut. He's in a long fight win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-fight win streak for that guy. And he's well-rounded. He has hands. Seems to me like he prefers to throw hands just to strike with people. He has 2 submissions and wins on his record. He has decisions on his record, but the decisions are kind of recent. It's like when guys have, when they get older, they realize, I don't know if I want to, take too many risks. So they go for the decision, the safer win. But which is not safe at all because you leave it in the judges, fellas. Come on now. He has one fight that's weird. In Shuto, Brazil, in July 2012 against Jostin Francino. The fight was declared no contest when Homeboy hit his opponent. Homeboy, meaning Luis Enrique, hit his opponent with a headbutt on purpose. So that fight was no contest. And so, he's got a couple weird fights here and there. He's got a loss by TKO. Solid prospect. If I have to take a pick, though, I'm thinking Ngannou for sure. The striking, that guy's a beast. 6'4", 250. Luis Enrique 6'3", he's basically just as big in the 240 zone. So I'm expecting Ngannou to be a knockout. Jesse, not able to be here today. He's also taking Ngannou in that fight. The next fight, also on Fight Pass prelims, Haider Hassan, who we know from Tough 21, taking on Vicente Luque, also from Tough 21. It's a rematch, fellas. And we have, in fact, Haider Hassan, I believe, won the fight they had in Tough 21 via split decision. And almost, well, if you weren't ATT, obviously you didn't agree with it. But it's real now. It's a real UFC fight. So they're actually going to throw down, outside of the tough, whatever you want to call it, guidelines, whatever you want to call it. But Haider Hassan is an aggressive guy, super aggressive guy. You saw it on the show. Even though he gets so aggressive, he'll lose his first fight in the UFC against one of the fellas fighting next, Usman. So in this fight, it's a little harder to pick. I like Luke better than I do Hassan. Because Hassan's kind of a hothead and he just go, doesn't think. But yeah, I'm gonna take Luke in this one. Luke wins this one, decision or something. And Jesse's taking Haider Hassan in that fight. Again, he could. I like fighters that are cool headed or level headed enough in a fight to make the right decisions and not just rush in and get to get TKO to get knocked out. All right. Next fight, and this is the last fight on the Fight Pass prelims. Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, the fella who beat Haider Hassan in their first UFC fight to win TUF 21 against Leon Rocky Edwards. Not much to talk about here, man. Leon Edwards hits hard, and a lot of people, I believe Leon Edwards is the underdog, and I don't understand that. I'm gonna say he should be the favorite. It should be a lot closer than it is. So I'm gonna take Leon Edwards via knockout. It's gonna surprise everybody because I mean, look at Leon Edwards' record. He's 10-2, has 5 knockouts, 2 submissions, 3 decisions, right? And he already has 3 UFC fights under his belt, 2 losses, 1 win. Knocked out Seth Brzezinski, and if you guys remember that was a pretty nasty, pretty gnarly knockout. Decision win over Paulo Pawak, and he lost a split against Claudio Enrique de Silva in his first UFC fight. So he's got a mixture there, but that knockout power is there. Usman, meanwhile, 6-1. This is gonna be his second official UFC fight. Won his last one against Haider Hassan, like I said, be a triangle choke. Before that, 4 TKO wins in a row. These guys can throw down. But I'm a believer in Leon Edwards. So I'm going to take Leon Edwards in that fight. Jesse is taking Leon Edwards as well. So great minds think alike. All right. Moving on here to the next fight. And that's, by the way, Fight Pass prelims, again, kicking off in about 23 minutes, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on Fight Pass. The FS1 prelims, and it is FS1. I haven't turned it on TV yet, so I don't know if it's a basketball game or something going on that could possibly screw up the start time for the Fight Pass or for the FS1 prelims. But if they don't, if there's some game on it goes overtime or something, they will move that thing to FS2, and that's something none of us want to happen. So anyway, first fight on FS1 that kicks off 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific time. The first fight, Cole Miller against Jim Ehlers. Cole Miller, we know everything Cole Miller does. Dude is a ground specialist, right? Pulling up his record right here. Thank you, Shirt.website, for working today, by the way. Appreciate it. 15 submissions on his win record. He's 21-9. Coming off a decision loss to Max Holloway in February this year. But before that submission, he submitted Sam Sicily a rear naked choke in 2014. And he didn't fight for a year. That's curious, right? Because that fight against Sam Sicily was in January 2014. He didn't fight again until February. So a year off. Before that decision went over Andy Ogle. Lost to Manny Gamborian by decision. And then got a rear naked choke against Bart Palazewski, whatever the hell that last name is. Regardless, dude's been in the UFC for a very long time. Super, super experienced. Jim Ehlers, meanwhile, this will be his 3rd UFC fight. He beat Alan Omer via split decision in his first fight, then got TKO'd by Chas Skelly in the, I believe, the 2nd round of in February at Henderson Verstappen. That dude is a ground guy. So we could potentially get I'm not gonna say in the levels of Damian Maia beating Gunnar Nelson, but we get 2 guys going on the ground and rolling around for a while. So if you don't like grappling, skip this one. Because that's more than likely where it's gonna go. Because I've never seen Cole Miller actually like to stay standing with people, especially not now that he's a little older. All right, after that we get the Fight Pass stream started. Sorry. After that, Nick Lentz taking on Danny Castillo. Nick Lentz's nickname always bothered me, the Carney. Why do you be proud of that? It's kind of weird. But then this picture on UFC.com looks like a Carney, I guess. So Danny last call Castillo out of Team Alpha Male. We know what he brings. He tries to knock dudes out. He's a wrestler, tries to stay on top of you, and is riding a 3-fight losing streak. So who needs his win more than than last call? Nobody. This could be it. He loses this one, for sure he's out. He's not, he's going to be out. So those 3 losses against Jim Miller, Paul Felder, and Tony Ferguson. So they're not against punks, but this fight against Nick Lentz is as much as people make fun of Nick Lentz, and I never really understood why. I actually wish I did understand why they made fun of Nick Lentz, but Nick Lentz is not a pushover. Dude is 25-7, plenty of fights in the UFC. Last loss to Charles Oliveira via guillotine choke in the 3rd round. And then before that, decision win over Manny Gambarian. So, 10 submissions on his record, 6 TKOs, has only been knocked out twice. So it's a tough fight for last call. I have a hard time picking Danny Castillo in this one. but I'm gonna go ahead and do it because they're just. Whoa, the thing froze for a second. Sorry. So Dan, I'm gonna pick Danny Castillo and Mr. Rubalcaba taking. Oh, he took Coleman. The last one taking Nick Lenson. This one. So, well, that's one of the few ones we disagreed on. All right, fight after that, we got Josh Simon. I call him MMA Jesus because he's got a massive beard and Fred Kirby hair. And taking on the Barn Cat. He's back. Tamdan McCrory, who's got just the Tamdan McCrory name is weird. I don't know much about the guy, but apparently everyone knows him as a Barn Cat. So 13-3 in his career, took some time off, went off to Bellator, and then signed to the UFC now. When he was in the UFC for quite a while, actually, lots of John Howard, he's just a weird dude. He really is just a weird guy. Prefers the ground game, of course, submissions, right? 5 of his wins are by submission. My bad. He throws down 2. 7 wins are by knockout. I didn't see that earlier. So he's taking on Josh Simon, who's on a bit of a roll here. Has a 4-fight win streak. Kyle Magalhaes in July. Eddie Gordon last December. Kevin Casey last April. And Mike Gomez at XFC 16 in February 2012. This dude didn't fight for a little over a year after the XFC stunt. So that Ultimate Fighter 17 was big for Josh. Even though he's really super douchey, when he's on top of that dude and goes, "Oh, watch this," and started doing this double fucking punch thing. I was really hoping that dude would just turn and submit him right there and make him just cry like a bitch. But I can't stand Josh Simon, so I'm taking the Barn Cat just because I can't stand that dude. That bothered me that much. Watch this. That shit was stupid. And Jesse McCall taking Barn Cat as well. It's gonna be fun to see Josh Simon get knocked out if we are correct. After that, we get a women's bantamweight throwdown. Number 5 bantamweight Sarah Kaufman taking on newcomer, by the way, Valentina Shevchenko, nicknamed the Bullet. This chick can throw. She can throw down. I believe she beat one Joanna Jędrzejczyk in Muay Thai 3 times. Not once, not twice, 3 times. Beat her ass down 3 times. And riding a 4-fight win streak. Currently this is like a 2-week notice fight though, like a 12-day week notice fight. It's really ridiculous. But this chick stays in shape. If you know anything about Tiger Muay Thai, you know those people. Those guys keep their fighters in check, in shape. So while I hope she wins, and I'll reveal my pick in a second. She's taken on a bit of a veteran, especially with the 3 UFC fights under her belt. Sarah Kaufman has that no contest against Jessica Ai, which I still think is bullshit that they overturned that fight or that win for Jessica Ai because of I think it was because of the weed thing. That's just stupid. That's still dumb as hell. But whatever. That was in Texas. So Texas, you guys are stupid. Your athletic commission is stupid. Relax, Nick. Don't be sending me messages and shit. Then she got a decision winner over Leslie Smith, and she got armbarred by Alexis Davis. So while Sarah Kaufman likes to talk a lot of shit on Twitter, she likes to talk. I don't know why. I don't understand why. And then she likes to talk during fights like she's some kind of expert. Mind you, I'm no expert, right? But I throw that out there before I start talking, right? She doesn't. So she's just talking. I'm just like, you know what? I've seen your you got armbarred by Ronda Rousey in Strikeforce. You got she's got, by the way, she's got a bunch of rematches. She fought Leslie Smith I think 3 times or 2 times. She's fought Alexis Davis 2 times. She's lost to Miesha Tate. She beat Miesha Tate. My bad. She beat Miesha Tate by decision at HFC Crow's Nest, whatever that is. My bad. Strikeforce Challengers won. Wow, it's an early morning. Not even early. I'm just tired. 15 minutes till Fight Pass fights begin. So fire up your Fight Pass streams in a minute. Once we get to this card, and she's actually beat Roxanne Modafferi, Marlon Lewis, Cohen. Regardless, 17-3, experienced veteran. But I'm gonna take the newcomer and Valentina Shevchenko because the chicken throw. Look, as soon as you tell me you can beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk in striking, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take that fight. So yeah, sorry, Kaufman gonna get knocked out, and Jesse agrees. So it works out. All right, the next fight is a potentially boring as fuck fight. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. CB Dalloway taking on Nate Marquardt. CB Dalloway, hugs you till you die. That's kind of what it is. And Nate Marquardt is one of those guys that he has not looked good in so long. I mean, he's been in the UFC forever, right? He's got a lot of good wins over Damian Maia, Martin Kampman, beat Jeremy Horn, Dean Lister. You know, these are back in like the early 2000s, right? And then lost to Chael Sonnen at some point. He used Chael Sonnen, kind of sucks. He beat Husam Paharis via TKO. Yeah, didn't get his knee blown up. And then he beat Tyron Woodley in Strikeforce via knockout. So, but here's the thing. Recently, you know, a 3-fight losing streak to Tarek Saffiedine, Jake Ellenberger, Hector Lombard, beats James Tahuna via submission, and then loses 2 in a row again. Brad Tavares and Kelvin Gastelum via TKO. Kelvin Gastelum, undersized, kind of heavy, but undersized. I have to think that I think he's going to lose this fight. I think CB Dalloway is just a dog. He's a dog. He stays on you, on top of you. And, you know, if you give him a chance to you give him a chance to TKO you, he will. He did that to Lyoto Machida. He beat Michael Bisping via decision, which makes no sense to me, but whatever. I'm sorry. Lost to Lyoto Machida. Lost to Michael Bisping via decision, which I was happy about. I really can't read right now, apparently. And then a win over Francis Carmont via decision. Win over Cesar Ferreira via knockout. Lost to Tim Bosch. You know, his losses they're bad losses. Other than I mean, you can kind of argue that Lyoto Machida lost kind of bad because of, you know, Lyoto's not a young dog anymore. And the loss to Mark Munoz via knockout, which is damn, you know. But he's not getting a high level guy. He's getting a guy on the back end. This could conceivably be his last fight, you know, in Nate Marquardt. Whether they cut him or whether he retires, this could be his last fight. So CB Dalloway needs a win just to stay relevant. I don't think they'll cut him, you know, but he needs a win just to stay relevant, in my opinion. All right, moving on to the next fight here. This is the premier. This is the featured fight. Featured fight pass fight, or pass one prelim. Charles against Miles Jury. Charles Rivera comes in 4.5 pounds over. Now, Danny Castillo weighed in before him and missed weight, right? And then he went to the back, weighed in again just minutes later, and made weight. Made no sense, right? So everyone's like, oh, this scale's fucked. CB Dalloway weighed in, came in overweight, took off his apparently 2-pound underwear, and made weight. That you know, how you miss weight, take off your underwear 2 pounds under, and you know, when you're 2 pounds over, and then or whatever it was, and then all of a sudden, you know, damn. So Charles Rivera does, however, miss weight. They weighed him again on the other scale. He missed weight, so he decides not to cut the rest of the weight. 4.5 pounds is a lot to cut. And then Miles Jury gets 20% of his purse. So what do we know about Mr. Charles Oliveira? He's a game fighter for sure. In my opinion, he's a game fighter, right? Can get you on the feet, can get you on the ground. Last loss to he's the guy that got the esophagus injury, you know, right here, against Max Holloway in August, and then beat Nick Lance via guillotine choke. Won a decision against Jeremy Stevens for that. Beat Tatsuhiko Andy Ogle via submissions. Lost to Frank Yeager via decision, which is still weirding me out. I thought Frank Yeager should have been able to finish him, but you know, whatever. Cub Swanson knocked him out. And then, you know, so he's been in the UFC quite a long time. He's only 26 years old. But the weight cut thing bothers me. And, you know, while, again, nobody likes Miles Jury. Nobody likes Miles Jury. But Miles Jury is 15-1. Apparently trains Power MMA, which I'm pretty sure is here in Gilbert. Last fight was a decision loss to Donald Cerrone in January, but had a nice long-ass win streak. In the UFC and outside. He had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak, beating names like Diego Sanchez, Ramsey Nijem, Michael Johnson. The problem with 2 of those 3 names I just named were decisions, right? So he just tries to stay in the fight long enough and score you and not point you. Charles Oliveira tries to take your head off or rip it off or pull an arm off or take your throat or whatever it is, but he tries to finish you. So I think Charles Oliveira, 4.5 pounds over or not, is going to beat him. And then move his ass up to lightweight because there's no way Dana White, after missing weight 3 times at featherweight, I believe is what it's been for Mr. Oliveira, there's no way that Dana White lets him stay at featherweight. So whether, you know, win or lose, Charles Oliveira's probably going to move up. I'm taking Charles Oliveira in this fight. Miles Jury doesn't like to finish shit, and Oliveira does like to finish fights. And Jesse's taking Miles Jury. Okay. And then moving on to the strawweight division, a popular fighter, of course. Number 7 ranked strawweight Randa Marcos taking on UFC newcomer and cutie pie Karolina Kowalkiewicz. I think that's how you say her name. Randa Marcos is 5-3. We know her story come from as a baby, went from Iraq to Canada and been Canada ever since. Trains over in Montreal with the TriStar crew. So she's definitely got the coaching. She's definitely got the game planning. She's got all that, right? And you know, coming off a decision win over Aslan Daly is kind of what bothers me, because if you can't finish, look, give Aslan Daly all the credit in the world. Chick can fight, right? But it just weirds me out. I have to look at their past fights and who they were against and how they won or lost in order to make, in my opinion, to make a better pick. Carolina, meanwhile, looks damn good and is undefeated. So 7-0. Look, we don't know any of her names other than Mizuki Ione, Inoue, and Invicta FC9 in November 2014. Who the fight she won by split decision. Her last fight she also won by split. Before that, had a submission win, an armbar win, and KSW 27, wherever that is. I'm assuming wherever she's from, Poland. And it's overall, it's hard to pick Carolina against Randa Marcos, but I'm going to, because she's very unknown. So it's going to be a close fight. You know what I mean? Randa Marcos is not afraid of pressure, so I don't know if she brings pressure whatsoever. Randa Marcos will counter your pressure with pressure of her own, strikes of her own. So it could very well be a long decision fight that goes to split. And I'm leaning towards Carolina on this one. And Mr. Jesse Rubacaba is taking Randa Marcos, and completely understandable, by the way. That was my pick right away. Until I saw the wings, and then I was like, okay, I'm going with my heart on this one. So, all right, moving on to these are the top 3 fights in my opinion on the entire card, which is exactly how they're placed. First fight in the lightweight division, number 15 ranked lightweight out of nowhere, because he's been inactive, but number 15 ranked Nate Diaz against number 6 Michael the Menace Johnson. We saw their pre-fight stuff in the hotel. They were going back and forth. They were drawing at the weigh-in, or they were kind of drawing at the weigh-in, not very much. They were drawing at the hotel. You know, Michael Johnson started making videos about what really happened, calling Nate Diaz a bitch and all sorts of stuff. You know, whatever you want to say, whatever. But both guys with the win right here could be added to that long-ass list of contenders for the belt. Even if actually no, you know what? It could be. Even if Nate Diaz has been very active, Michael Johnson did lose that BS split decision to Beneil Dariush, and that for me is kind of, I wouldn't call it a win for Michael Johnson, but I wouldn't call it a loss either. It wasn't a bad loss, because even Dana White was kind of like, that was bullshit. Beneil Dariush was like super surprised that he won that fight, or that they gave him that fight. So, you know, I wouldn't count it as a loss. I wouldn't count it against Michael Johnson on that one. So if he wins this one against Nate Diaz with the name, I could potentially see him get maybe one more fight. And if you know, against a ranked opponent, higher ranked opponent, you can see Michael Johnson fighting for the lightweight belt. Unless Conor McGregor moves up to 155, then the entire picture is screwed. It's all messed up. It's been shaken apart. It doesn't matter anymore. By the way, how one man holds 2 weight divisions hostage like that is kind of impressive. We got to give Conor McGregor his props on that one. All right, he's literally holding 145 and 155 hostage, depending on what he feels like doing. Now, his coach coming out saying that he wants to move to lightweight, first the lightweight belt, saying that Frankie Edgar's going to have to wait, which Frankie's not going to take very well. And, yeah, I don't know. Meanwhile, Nate Diaz, moving back to the actual fight, Nate Diaz, 17-10, 11 submissions on his record. The guy is a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu fighter. That's what it is. Last fight against the champ RDA in Phoenix, a fight where he said, and Nick Diaz also threw out saying that, you know, that Diaz was jacked up, he's injured and all that, but they still showed up to fight. A lot of people are like, oh, it's just an excuse. You know, could be, I guess. You could say it is, but, you know, you go into a camp, have a really shitty camp, and then get injured on top of it. Kind of hard to show up on fight night and actually win. And he also, mind you, came in overweight. Made weight yesterday, came in overweight in that fight against Rafael dos Anjos, lost it by decision. It still only lost by decision. He didn't get finished. So, Graham Maynard, he beat Graham Maynard for that via TKO in 2013. So, took a year off between Maynard and RDA, and taking another year off between RDA and Michael Johnson. So, is rust a factor? Probably. Is the fact that he's getting paid less than Sage Northcutt a factor? Yeah, 100%. That's what it is, you know. So, and of course, Nate Diaz has been coming out. You know, you've heard it before, you know, saying that Dana's got to give me a better contract and all this stuff, and supposedly give him a better contract. That they offered him something better, barely, but better. So, you know, Nate Diaz is I believe he has much to gain. He's more to gain in the pocket than Michael Johnson does. I think Michael Johnson has more than Michael Johnson. No, I mean, Michael Johnson has more to gain, obviously, because of the name of Nate Diaz's name. But Nate Diaz should cash in if he finishes this fight, I think. Mike Drops tweeting in saying, I think these two new chicks are going to wreak havoc in both divisions. Yeah, I think so too. I really do. Like I said, I know more about the 135 than I do about the 115 fighter. But you know, it's nice to get new blood in both divisions instead of getting a rematch after rematch like we've been seeing actually kind of lately. So, all right. So Michael Johnson, if it's Nate Diaz, you guys know me, Nate Diaz, submission, second round. Of course, JC takes Michael Johnson. Of course he does. Anyway, moving on here to the co-main event of the evening in the heavyweight division. Junior Dos Santos number 2 ranked. If Verdum continues being the champion, that guy's got. If he wins this fight, he's got to have the next shot. Number 9, Alistair Overeem, a guy whose contract was ridiculous when he came in and hasn't really lived up to expectations, other than the win over Brock Lesnar. You know, must have been all that horse meat though. You know. But he's on a 2-fight win streak over, I think, knockout of Stephen Struve, decision win over Roy Nelson, which is really, really hard to finish Roy Nelson. I think the only guy I've seen do it is Mark Hunt, and that was a sick walk-off that the ref screwed up by tripping him. But before that, you know, Ben Rothwell's knocked this dude out. Travis Brown's knocked this dude out. Anderson Silva's knocked this dude out. Sorry, Antonio Silva. I almost messed that up. You know what? I bet Anderson Silva could knock out Overeem. Suspect-ass chin of his. But he's beaten Fabrice Verdum when Verdum in Strikeforce when Verdum was trying to do the butt scoot, and Overeem was having none of it. He beat Brock Lesnar with kicks and punches to the body when he was just filled to the gills with horse meat, aka whatever juice he was using at the time. So 35 years old. Junior Dos Santos is 31 years old, but he might as well be 50. With the damage this guy's taking is insane. I watched him against Stipe Miocic here in Phoenix live, and the fight he had against Stipe, JDS took a ton of damage just to put damage on Stipe. And he won the fight. I thought Stipe should have won the fight, but whatever. But he got the decision win. Before that, the wars against Cain Velasquez was just made you feel bad for JDS. In between the two Cain fights, the win over Mark Hunt with that weird spinning hook kick that to me didn't even look like it landed very well, but it did, and finished Mark Hunt. So before that, wins over Frank Mir. He has knocked out Cain Velasquez. He has he has beat Shane Carwin, Roy Nelson. He knocked out Gonzaga. Gilbert. Let me see if he's on this. Yeah, Gilbert Evil's on here. Submitted Crow Cop because the Crow Cop tapped to punches. There you go, Andy. Your hero, Crow Cop, tapped to punches. And then he's beat Fabrice Verdum TKO, which is why he wants to win this fight so badly, because he wins this fight and Verdum's still champion. You can see that rematch. And we probably want to see it at that point, depending on how he wins this fight, of course. If this is a Frank Mir versus Andrei Arlovski type of fight, we're going to be pissed. Everybody's going to be pissed. Actually, a couple minutes left till the fight pass prelims begin, so we're right on time. All right, and this fight, I'm taking JDS. I'm taking the guy that wasn't on horse steroids and has knocked dudes out, and it hasn't had to get hasn't had to be Also, Overeem looks way different. Let's just say that. Mike Jarvis saying, tweeting over, JDS last fight was a war. 100%. That was bloody, it was messy, and it was insane. So, but I still think somehow he's going to land one on Overeem. JDS's chin has lasted pretty damn long. I don't think he's going to go out just yet. Overeem's chin has been suspect ever since he got off the horse meat. So I'm going to say JDS lands one. But, Overeem's known to be well, he's over at Jackson's, right? Jackson Winklejohn. So he's gonna have some good game plan going. So we'll see what he thinks. So maybe pressure JDS, maybe try to wrestle him, which would be weird, but maybe try to wrestle him. So all right, as the fights are about to begin, title fight, Donald Cerrone, RDA, the rematch. RDA's already beat Donald Cerrone. He beat Cowboy via let me see what it was, decision. Okay, yeah, in August 2013, and now he's RDA is now running a 4-fight win streak. Jason High, Benson Henderson, Nate Diaz, finished Benson Henderson via knockout, by the way, which is just whoa. That kind of got everybody like, okay, what the fuck's going on? TKO Jason High, and he beat Nate Diaz and Anthony Pettis via decision. But let's be real, dominated Anthony Pettis. So Donald Cerrone, a little bit of streak of his own. This is a streak fight. Anyone that bets or plays that UFC pick'em, this is technically labeled a streak fight. So you get more points, I think, on pick'em if you pick or for whoever you pick, whoever wins. It's a long ass list. I'll just read you the names. Beat Evan Dunham. Beat Adriano Martinez. Beat Edson Barbosa. Beat Jim Miller. Beat Eddie Alvarez. Beat Miles Jury. Beat Benson Henderson. And TKO John McDessie to get a title shot. If anybody's on a roll, it's Donald Cowboy Cerrone. And my friends, I'm picking Donald Cowboy Cerrone to win this fight. And Jesse, of course, who's a big fan of Kings MMA in California, taking RDA. Look, it's a rough fight. It's a real tough fight. I think it's tougher for Donald Cerrone than RDA, but I think that's going to help RDA, or it's going to help Cowboy, because RDA is, I think he's going to hit RDA something he doesn't expect. I really do believe so. And so I think this is one of those things where it's like the momentum's coming and everything. And while, RDA's been inactive, how long? Cerrone's been fighting way too frequently, by the way. That guy, they made him take a freaking a break. But RDA has been inactive since March. Okay, never mind. Not very inactive at all. So it's going to be a good fight. It's hard for me to even break it down, because if it goes to the ground, Cerrone's jiu-jitsu is actually good. RDA jiu-jitsu is probably better. 8 submissions on his record, and only 4 knockouts, but he has 12 decisions on his record. And Cerrone goes for your head. He wants to take your head off if possible. We're going to see kicks. We're going to see spinning shit. Possible submissions. I think Cerrone has like 15 or 16 on his record for wins. So they're deserving. He's deserving for a title shot. It's going to be crazy. Joe Rogan's calling the fights with Dominic Cruz, and of course Joe Rogan always calls the fights, the UFC on Fox fights. But he's friends with Donald, so you can imagine what happens if Cowboy wins. Okay, there's going to be a lot of screaming and shit. You guys are going to hate Joe Rogan again, or everyone that hates him is going to hate him. So regardless, taking Cowboy in this fight. And like I said, Jesse Rubalcaba taking RDA. And Don Manos also taking Cowboy, but he's taking him TKO round 2. That would mean RDA makes a huge mistake, because I think RDA is going to be way more careful in this fight. But it's going to do it for our UFC Orlando. And the Fight Pass prelims are going. Stream's on. So get off the stream. Go watch the fights. Again, FS1 prelims begin. Fight Pass prelims begin right now. FS1 prelims on FS1, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, and the main card is on Fox. So look it up on your whatever your local guide is. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Free fights, and it's a good card. Kick back, relax, and hit me up on Twitter at ELAW31. We'll go back and forth about the fights. No matter. I'll be watching the fights at the same time as you guys are. I'm not going anywhere. So thanks for joining me today for the UFC Orlando pre-fight show, and enjoy the fights, ladies and gentlemen. Also, real quick. Appreciate everyone tuning in last night for my first Breaking the Law with Eddie Law episode. Gonna have one today after the fights. So get ready to tune in. Hopefully the fights don't end too late, but I'll do the show anyway. Who cares? Anyway, you guys have a good one and enjoy the fights. See ya.